The roots of e-education can be found in distance education. Arguably, distance education began in 1833 with the launch of composition through the medium of the post in Sweden. This first generation of distance education was characterized by predominant use of a single technology, sometimes television or radio, but primarily print-based media. The second generation of distance education is characterized by the integration of multiple media, print and broadcasting for example, and is based on behaviorist learning theory. The third generation of distance learning is based on two-way communications media and usually takes a social constructivist approach. Central to this is activity theory, which suggests that meaning arises and evolves during interactions that are influenced by the social relations within a community of practice. E-learning is usually associated with the learning that makes use of internet-based communications technologies. As electronic communications technologies have developed, they've been adapted and used for educational purposes. One of the key benefits of contemporary ICTs is their ability to allow access to an enormous resource via the internet. It is this combination of access to information, along with the way that it can be used to facilitate both synchronous and asynchronous communication, that makes ICTs such a key part of ODL. When considering the place of ICTs for ODL, it is important that we take heed of Bates' reminder that the choice of technology should be driven not by its novelty, but by the needs of the learners and the context in which we are working. In many cases, this leads to the decision to use mixed mode or blended approaches. As recently as the 1990s, Borja Homburg expressed concerns that distance education has been characterized by a trial and error approach, with little consideration being given to a theoretical basis for decision making. Both Charles Wedemeyer and Borja Homburg emphasized the importance of interaction between teacher and learner. Hilary Perrotin's synthesis of elements from a number of education and communications theories also emphasizes the needs for an increased dialogue through various forms of group discussion and suggests that a multiple media program is likely to be more effective than one that relies on a single medium. More recently, Mays and de Freitas have suggested that there really are no modes of e-learning per se, only e-enhancements of models of learning. It is important to recognise that a range of differing approaches and theoretical understandings of ODL have applications in different situations. At one end of the spectrum, industrialised delivery of content using a behaviourist learning approach can allow for high levels of administrative control when required. At the other end of such a spectrum, completely learner-driven approaches like geeking out operate within emerging social constructivist-based pedagogies. Somewhere between these two extremes is a middle ground on which most distance education operates. Assessing ODL presents a number of challenges. These challenges are not specific to ODL and are related as much to developing understandings of how learning takes place as they are to the nature of ODL. In much the same way that mixed mode learning, when possible, has been seen to be highly effective, so too a blend of both conventional summative and ongoing formative assessment should be considered for ODL. The reliability of more traditional tools has its place in high-stakes summative assessment, while more flexible and responsive tools, along with ongoing moderated learning, can contribute to improved teaching and learning and foster lifelong learning. So despite having its roots in distance education, theories for and approaches to e-education are still evolving. This evolution is contributed to by the development of both communications technologies and theories of learning. As technologies allow ever-increasing opportunities for communication and information sharing, the forms of ODL and e-learning change. Assessment as a core component of the teaching and learning process is also changing. This flux provides many challenges for educators working within e-education. To meet them, we must continue to be learners ourselves.